For a taste of yesteryear, today we're going to travel across the Mediterranean in the world's largest sailing ship. From Venice along the Croatian coast to Dubrovnik, from the historic La Serenissima to the former Sea Republic of Ragusa, a dream journey beneath white sails. Our journey begins in Venice, the fascinating water city, whose history spans more than 1,500 years. The former political centre of the city is now a major destination for those who visit Venice. The splendid architecture of various eras is in abundance here, such as that of the Basilica San Marco, and the Palazzo Ducale, a regal residence. As well as a mighty token of power. Trade brought prosperity, and wealth had to be displayed. As highlighted by the famous Teatro La Fenice. Everywhere, narrow canals navigated by countless gondolas and tiny gardens. In order to reach the Isola di San Giorgio Maggiore, the wide Canale Di San Marco has to be crossed by vaporetto. Close to the Bridge of Sighs is the well-known Hotel Daniani. Venice's past naval power is omnipresent. A walk through the Jewish quarter of the lagoon city is like entering a world of melancholy. One of the most beautiful palaces that overlooks the Canal Grande is the Palazzo Papadopoli, which has been transformed into a world-famous luxury hotel. The palazzo has a long history. The Cocina family consisted of traders and sailors. The Cocinas had the palazzo designed by architect De Grigi in 1550. According to legend, the first inhabitants of the island settled on the Rivas Altas, which became the Rialto. The markets on the Rialto are popular with both Venetians and tourists. The market has been held here for 600 years. The Gothic Santa Maria Gloriosa dei Frari church dominates the eastern section of San Polo. In front, the church and San Rocco School. Canals all around, with shops situated on boats that navigate their way along small canals. Close to the Canale del Giudica is one of Venice's last remaining gondola workshops. Gondolas are still manufactured and repaired here. Venetian masks, costumes and carnevale are world famous. Numerous paintings in the Galleria dell'Accademia. A fragile legend of ancient pride and with more than a hint of melancholic transience. Venice has survived in grand form until the present day. The Royal Clipper is already waiting for its guests. boarding can begin. Welcome drinks are provided. The captain greets his guests and the crew prepare for departure. Departure through the Canale Di San Marco is always a big event, and passengers stand on deck eager not to miss the spectacle. The large ship glides out from Venice majestically, at present without sails. As the sun gradually sets Marcus Square, the Campanile and the Dogal Palace bid adieu. Our extraordinary journey can begin. Details of the journey are given, and the ship slowly leaves Venice behind and sails into our first night at sea. Currently, only the fore and aft rig is set, which use the wind at moderate speed. The ship's safety procedures are explained. From Venice, we cross the Gulf of Triest to the Istrian coast. Then southwards, until a conspicuous tower appears on the horizon. For the first time, the anchor rattles downwards and finally settles. We arrive at our first destination. Tenders take passengers ashore, and the sportive jump into the water from a lowered platform at the stern. The peninsula is gradually circumnavigated, and the royal clipper recedes into the distance. We duly disembark. The Croatian town of Rovinj is one of the most beautiful ports in the Adriatic, with a harmonious and compact cityscape. The buildings with their colourful, shining facades are densely packed. In the Middle Ages, they were surrounded by a wall with 7 gates, of which 3 have survived to the present day, and a widely visible campanile. Several centuries and a varied history have given the city a rich legacy. In ancient times, the peninsula was inhabited by the Histra people, and in 129 BC, it became the Roman settlement of Rausium. Later, this port city was called Rovinj and was dominated by the Serenissima. At the city's highest point is a campanile modelled on that in Venice, and adjacent, the Saint Euphemia Basilica. Venetian Baroque wherever one looks. The bright interior of this imposing 3-nave basilica contains splendid architecture, fine ceiling paintings and altars. The basilica became a place of pilgrimage due to Holy Euphemia, a female martyr from the Roman period whose bones are entombed here. The Campanile stood on this location for 70 years prior to the commencement of the basilica's construction, which took 26 years. 200 worn steps lead to the top. The wonderful view from here is just reward for the adventurous climb up the 60-meter-high tower. With views of the sea and islands that float like pearls in the waters of the Adriatic. Around both the Basilica and Campanile, a homogeneous network of buildings and narrow streets gradually developed, which gave the local population a strong feeling of security. Although Rovinj fell for a long time under the protection of the naval power of Venice, it continued to be threatened by the Genoese pirates and pestilence. But the city managed to survive all of its tribulations and was designated as a cultural monument in 1963. Rovinj encapsulates history, culture, and beauty. The tender returns passengers to the ship. International tourism has long since discovered this gem that has succeeded to combine its cultural heritage with modern trends. The wealthy people of ancient Rome once thought of this region as a holiday paradise, and so it has remained right up until the present day. The tender is raised and the anchor lifted, swiftly and loudly. The Royal Clipper is a reproduction of the legendary Croatian and is the largest 5-mast full sailboat built this century. It is 134 meters long, has 6 meters of draft, a width of 16 meters, and a mast height of 54 meters. At full rig, it boasts 5,000 square meters of sail and optimal sailing characteristics. To the accompaniment of a wine tasting, the tall ship glides elegantly into the evening. The next morning, there's a spectacular sunrise over the horizon, a promising start to the day. The fore and aft rigs are blown by a gentle breeze, and the bridge radiates calm as only the captain and crew are busy at work. There's a feeling of adventure and tradition on this sailing ship, which can accommodate 227 passengers. It also has the feeling of a large private yacht. A splendid and formidable breakfast buffet is available in the 3-story atrium, enjoyed by both early and late risers. Another wonderful day at sea begins. We encounter a ferry boat, and for some time the Dalmatian coast has been accompanying us on our journey. Now we have reached the top of the elongated island of Hvar and sail along the coast. We lie at anchor. and again the tender is lowered and takes passengers ashore. The faithful 5-master anchors in sight. Those remaining on board play captain, and a ferry boat arrives. The city of Hvar is located on a picturesque sheltered bay, the harbour being the central area of interest. Since the commencement of tourism here, both the city and island in general have become popular tourist destinations. Numerous grand hotels are situated along the elegant harbour promenade, behind which are hidden a number of Venetian villas. The oblong market square is the largest in Dalmatia and leads to the cathedral and its bell tower. Hvar charms with its Venetian character and historical importance. High above the village is an old fortress. The tender takes us for a short trip on the Royal Clipper, and soon we reach one of the region's beaches. The party island of Carpe Diem is known as Croatia's Saint-Tropez. Here there are several water sports, a perfect mix of sport, parties and relaxation. Nature and architecture merge harmoniously and create a Mediterranean idyll. Our journey continues. We're greeted aboard, and a pianist accompanies dinner in the elegant restaurant that's situated in the atrium and is on 3 levels. Culinary delights are served in an informal atmosphere. Night gradually falls, and in this romantic ambience, the sails are slowly hoisted, one after the other. An atmospheric experience. The next morning, early risers can partake of sparkling wine or something less fizzy. They're well rewarded. Suddenly, the Royal Clipper's sister ship emerges, also under full sail. On both ships, news of this event spreads quickly, and all of the passengers are on deck, waving to each other and impressed at the mighty dimensions of the sailing ships. A fascinating tall ship experience. Following this, the boat will be unrigged and the trip will continue to the southernmost archipelago in Dalmatia, where several cruise ships have already dropped anchor in the bay. One last time, the tender takes us into port. This is the conclusion and highlight of our journey, the medieval Pearl of the Adriatic. Dubrovnik is a Mediterranean city with a great history. a fascinating port city. This, the city of stone, had its heyday in the Middle Ages and was one of the most important economic and cultural centers in the Mediterranean. An ancient courtyard gate leads to the Old Town and to Luza Square, the city's main square that contains a fine clock tower and splendid loggia palace. Despite having had many foreign rulers, the city has mainly succeeded in being autonomous. Its well-conserved historic monuments attract growing numbers of visitors. Close by is the magnificent Baroque Veneca Gospa Cathedral, which was built between 1672 and 1713 on the ruins of a Romanesque basilica. According to legend, Richard the Lionheart ordered construction of the first church here. The interior impresses with its mighty dimensions and remarkable main nave and light-filled dome. And its large side altars. Founded as the Roman settlement of Rausium in the 7th century, the city was inhabited by the fleeing people of nearby Epidaurus. Ragusa fell under the protection of the Byzantine Empire until the 12th century. In 1204, the city was conquered by Byzantium, and the following year by the Venetians. However, despite the rule of the Serenissima, normal trade continued. A Franciscan church was destroyed by earthquake. Only its marble pulpit survived. Everything else had to be rebuilt. Thus, solemn Baroque style was introduced that even today is plain to see. The church also contains the tomb of city poet Gundulic. The adjoining Malabracha monastery was built in the 14th century, the oldest section of it being a splendid cloister. "60 fine stone columns frame this shady courtyard. Ragusa was subsequently renamed Dubrovnik, and due to its magnificent location, unique old town and beautiful buildings, it's become tantamount to a remarkable work of art. Mighty defensive walls and massive towers protected the city, as it gradually blossomed into a thing of beauty. Various hostilities repeatedly had to be fended off. First the Arabs, then the Normans, Byzantines, Venetians, Hungarians, Turks, and finally Napoleon. A treasure trove of history. Life on board a huge sailing ship provides a good insight into the voyages of adventurous bygone days. And famous historical cities bring the Middle Ages back to life once more. Our journey comes to an end. A dream voyage beneath white sails.